4 pennies. To lie down. Gary is lying in a wooden box the size and shape of a coffin. He is not dead. He paid for this. Around him are 100 more coffins, in rows, all occupied, all snoring. By the standards of this room, Gary is having a wonderful night. This is London, 1893, and Gary has learned the city's most honest fact. Sleep is a product. It comes in 5 price tiers, and every single one is worse than you are imagining. Gary arrived this morning with a plan, a clean collar, and no money. The plan failed by noon. The collar lasted until 4, which leaves Gary at dusk, counting the entire fortune in his pocket. 4 pennies. Time to go shopping for a bed. Free. There is a free option. It is called the casual ward, or the spike, and it is run by the workhouse. Gary likes the price. Then Gary reads the terms and conditions. At the gate, an official searches you, not for weapons, for money. If they find more than a few pennies on you, you are too rich to sleep here and you are turned away. Gary is currently in danger of being too rich. Let that sink in. And if you pass the poverty exam, congratulations. The doors are locked behind you. In the morning, you pay for your free bed with labor, breaking stones or pulling old ropes apart into loose fiber, hour after hour, until your fingers bleed. They release you the second morning. The free bed costs a full day of your life. Gary decides he would like to remain too rich for the free option. 1 penny. A penny buys admission to a shelter with a warm room and long wooden benches. One shelter near Blackfriars takes in over 600 people a night. For your penny, you may sit on the bench. That is the product. Sitting. Lying down is not included. Lying down is a premium feature. Gary sits in row 11, upright as a fence post, surrounded by 600 coughing strangers, and understands for the first time in his life that sleeping flat is a luxury good. 2 pence. Now we reach the famous one. The legend of this city. For 2 pennies, the story goes, you may sleep leaning on a rope. A rope stretched across the room at chest height. You drape yourself over it like wet laundry. You sleep hanging. And at 5 in the morning, a man cuts the rope and everyone collapses awake. Gary walks the streets looking for the rope. Here's the problem. The historians have been looking too. The man who made the rope famous wrote about it 40 years after tonight, and admitted he never saw it himself. The newspapers of Gary's own decade never mention it. 2 generations earlier, a novelist described a 2-penny rope, but in his version, the ropes just held little hammocks of sacking, which were let down at 6, dumping everyone politely onto the floor. Across the water in Paris, rope sleeping was real. Rag pickers paid a few coins to lean on a cord near the market, and at dawn the owner untied one end. But in London, the most famous bed in the city is the one nobody can actually find. Gary stands in the fog, holding 2 pennies, queuing for a roomer. 4 pence. Which brings us back to the coffin. For 4 pence, a charity shelter offers a wooden box on the floor, shaped exactly like the thing you are thinking of, with a cover of stiff leather cloth for a blanket. It is not a joke, and nobody here is laughing. It is the cheapest way in London to sleep lying down. And here is the truly upsetting part. After the bench and the rope, the coffin is magnificent. Gary stretches out full length inside his own personal box and feels like a king. A dead king, visually speaking, but a king. 6pence. Because there is one more rung. A brand new building across the river just opened its doors. 470 private sleeping cubicles, clean sheets, hot water, foot baths, a library, an actual library. All of it for 6pence a night. Gary has 4 pence. The finest bargain in the city is 2 pennies out of reach. Gary falls asleep in his coffin, dreaming of the library he cannot afford. One last thing while he sleeps. None of this is chaos. All of it is a system. The doss houses are registered with the police and inspected. The walls are lime-washed by law. The city knows exactly how its poorest citizens sleep, tier by tier, penny by penny. It wrote the price list down. And the Sixpenny Palace with the library. In its first year, it sells 140,000 nights of sleep and turns a profit. Someone has just discovered that housing the poor decently can pay. The idea will catch on slowly, very slowly. A century later, cities will shrink the beds again, stack them in rows, and rent them by the night to travelers. They will call it a capsule hotel and charge considerably more than fourpence. Gary's troubles are not confined to one century. History is long, and Gary lives in all of it.